Ambassador Ron, did you want to use this or?
Whichever. Whatever you want to do. Right. I guess everyone is having good time. Are you? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Are you really, really sure? Yes. Well, thank you so much. What an honor and what a pleasure. And then when I was coming in, Don Manzullo, he was approaching me, and then he said, "Are you going to make 3 points?" And I said, "No, today I'm going to make 2 points. Why? Because I find myself amongst the most eloquent speakers in whole of Washington, D.C. So I should be behaving." So I said to myself, I should be making only 2 points. And then my first point, of course, would be thank you. Thank you so much. And then as an ambassador, there are 2 events I attend every year. Whatever happens, there are 2 events I attend every year. One is a ceremony we have on June 25th. June 25th, that's the outbreak of the Korean War. Second ceremony I always attend, that is July 27th. That's the Armistice, Truce Day, which in fact put an end to the open conflict on the Korean Peninsula. And then what do I do on those 2 events? Then of course, I thank almost a million soldiers who came to Korea to defend the country they have never known and to defend people they have never met. But at the same time, at those ceremonies, I thank no less than 35,000 young soldiers who made their ultimate sacrifice, who gave up their life for the defense of the country. But at the same time, at those ceremonies, I remember these 3 heroes of mine: John Conyers Jr. of Michigan, Charles Rangel of New York, Sam Johnson of Texas. I have known them for a long, long time. I have admired them for a long, long time. And I don't think I'm exaggerating myself at all when I tell you it is thanks to them that Korea could develop its economy. It is thanks to them that Korea could develop its democratic institutions. It is thanks to them that we could defend our country. So I never stop thanking them. And then that, I think, is the first message I want to share with you, which is obvious. Thank you so much. But at the same time, there is a second message I should be sharing with you, which is the timing of this reception we are having today. And I have to say, this is very, very timely. This is very, very opportune. Why? Why do I say that? It's because today, as I told you, this is perfect timing. The Speaker of the House is just arriving, poor Ryan. So this is a perfect timing. Mr. Ryan, Mr. Speaker, well, I'm the ambassador of South Korea, in case you do not remember me, but at the same time, I was just making 2 points. I'm done with my first point. I was just moving on to my second point, and then it just came in when I'm just trying to make the second point. No, not at all, not at all, not at all. As a matter of fact, the point I was going to make was this reception is very, very timely. And then why do I say that? It's because this is something I already said in my first message, which is that, well, there were no less than 35,000 soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice during the Korean War. Yesterday and day before yesterday, there was a very meaningful ceremony we, in fact, had at the Korean War Memorial. That was, we recited the names of each and every one of those 35,000 soldiers. Each and every one of those 35,000 soldiers. That's what we did yesterday and day before yesterday. This is the second time we are doing it. We started it last year, and then in fact we came to find that it in fact is such a meaningful recitation of the names of 35,000 soldiers. So we did it again this year. 2 days from now, my president, new president of Korea, is arriving in Korea. And then the first thing he's going to do is to come and visit chosen few memorial. I guess there are some of you who remember that. Charles, you fought there, right? The Korean language for the chosen field would be Changjin Lake. And then Changjin Lake, in fact, we inaugurated a memorial at Quantico Marine Museum. The first thing my president is going to do is to come and visit that memorial to lay a wreath at Changjin-ho Memorial. Why? Because my new president, he is a son of a refugee coming from North Korea. His parents were on the ship which evacuated no less than 100,000 North Korean refugees from North Korea to South Korea. That evacuation would not have been possible at all without this Changjin Lake battle. And then Charles, I know you were part of the Changjin Lake battle, so that in fact is the reason why the first thing my new president is going to do is to come and visit the Changjin Lake Memorial and then lay the wreath at the Changjin Lake Memorial. So that is the reason why I said this reception is so timely. Well, in fact, this is happening between recitation of the names of 35,000 soldiers day before yesterday, and then 2 days before this last ring to be done by my president at the Changjin Lake Memorial. But at the same time, there is another reason why I find this is so timely. Why? Because you have new president in Washington, D.C. We have new presidents in South Korea. And then this is the time, in fact, when and where we should make all the efforts we can so that we can just keep on developing relations between Korea and United States so that we can just continue to strengthen our alliance in the days to come. Of course, presidents have very important role to play. President Trump as well as President Moon. But at the same time, they cannot do it alone. They need our support. Support of Speaker Ryan, and then support of all the members of Congress gathered here, but at the same time, support of 3 of my heroes. Once again, John Conyers Jr., Charles Rangel, Sam Johnson. So they are the 2 points I wanted to share with you. Thank you, and then thank you for hosting this such a timely reception today. Thank you so much.
The Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. How are you, bro?
Nice to see you. Good to see you, Don. Well, Don Manzullo, nice to see you back here as well. Don and I live right next to each other. He's from Rockford, Illinois. I live about a half hour north. Always good to see the Dean of the House, John Conyers. Thank you, John. Charlie Rangel, welcome back. Not much has happened since you left. So it's great seeing Charlie back. Yeah, let's get a cheer for these other guys. Charlie and I know each other very, very well because we served in the Ways and Means Committee for most of our careers. And so welcome back to the House, Charlie. And I think you all, you're welcome. Good to see you. You look really happy. So it's the look you see with former colleagues when they've gone. Sam Johnson. I think most of you know that Sam Johnson is my personal hero. And he is for many people here. And we know each other well because we, too, served in the Ways and Means Committee for so many years. The 3 of you men have brought an additional meaning to the word legacy. When we think legacy, we think something that's personal or selfish, something we did ourselves. I think when we look at these 3 men and we think about what they did, they bring legacy to a different level of meaning because they made sure that things that they're devoted to outlasted them. These men, it could have been enough for them to go serve their country, fight for their country, and then gone quietly about their lives. They didn't do that. They came here to Congress and have made an enormous difference, a huge impact. All 3 of these people are icons in our legislature who have done so much to affect and change the lives of countless millions of Americans for the better. And I say that on a bipartisan basis. I think they made sure that a lot of good came from that forgotten war. As a matter of fact, I think the last time we were all together was when we signed the legislation creating the Wall of Remembrance at our Korean War Memorial. It's important that our patriots receive their due. If you go through the War Memorial in Seoul, there's already something like this. They have the hallway broken down with the names of every single American who died in that war listed state by state. It's just such a powerful symbol of how just intertwined our two countries are. And so I think it's an enduring memorial to our friendship, to our common interests. I also think it's important that we renew our vibrant friendship and relationship the week the new President Moon comes to visit us. We're very excited about his visit. We want to make sure that it goes well. And I think this legacy that these three men and all the other veterans of the Korean War gave to this country is something that will never be forgotten, will be forever memorialized. And it's just important that we do things like this to remind ourselves just how important our allegiance is, our common values are, and what people did for the people of South Korea and did for Americans. We're deeply indebted in what you've done. We thank you for your service to our country, particularly here as just fellow members of Congress. But we thank your generation for what they did for us as Americans. And we are just excited to welcome the President here next week. So thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Congressman Rangel wants to say a few words.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you so much for your presence here. And Gerry and all the rest of you, Carolyn, I have to leave, but I can't thank you enough, Don, for bringing my colleagues together. Just sitting next to John Conyers for me is history. 51 years, a half a century in this house, especially now. Hey, that's so important. And of course, there's Sam Johnson, a guy that spent 7 years incarcerated and so many years in solitary confinement, comes back strong as an ox and still serving. And we all are so proud that probably none of us knew a damn thing about where Korea was when we were called to serve. We just loved our country. The flag went up, we saluted, did what we had to do. Korea's paid us more than back in the friendship that she's had with our great country, the inspiration she's given to democracy all over the world. And as far as the kid from Harlem is concerned, I had no idea where I was going, what police force I was joining. I couldn't tell the North from the South. I didn't understand what the hell the Chinese was doing there. I was so glad to get out. But every visit I make back, I thank God for those, pray for the families of those that didn't come back with me, and know that our country is better and stronger because of Korea. So, kamsahamnida to everybody. I had an hour-long speech, but thank you so much for everything. Hi.
I would like to present to you a plaque from the Korea Economic Institute of America, Congressman Charles Rangel, in recognition of your service during the Korean War and for advancing U.S. Korea relations in Congress. Thank you, Charlie. God bless you.
Ambassador, I want you to know that I may retired from the Congress, but I haven't retired from supporting Korea. Call me if you need me. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Congressman Rangel has to catch an early train back. Congressman Mike Kelly. Mike is the co-chair of the Korea Caucus, and then Gerry Connolly's around here somewhere.
Yeah, Gerry's here.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Gerry, you're on deck.
Gerry, come on up. Yeah, come on up. Good to see you, brother. Thank you, Mike. Good to see you. First of all, I think days like this are sometimes we misunderstand what it's about. And I can just tell you this, that during the Korean War, 2.5 million lives were lost. So as we come here tonight, I see Mr. Conyers, I see Mr. Rangel, and I see my all-time favorite guy, Mr. Johnson there. I mean, you just can't be around people like this and not think about the sacrifice that they made. And the thing that I always think about, 2.5 million lives, 2.5 million people who gave their life, who were willing to go to war to give their life for their fellow man and for liberty and freedom. I mean, it's just incredible. Now, keep in mind, these are people that never get to enjoy this day This beautiful day in Washington, D.C., June 26th, nice weather, blue skies. Never again did they have the opportunity to see that. Never again got to go home and celebrate a Christmas holiday, a Thanksgiving, a family reunion, a birthday, a wedding, the birth of a child or a grandchild. All of that was forfeited because of what was in their heart and what they knew to be true. And after everything was said and done, they were willing to give their lives so that others could enjoy this type of life in the future. You just can't find that. And so I always think about the relationship between our two countries. There is nothing that matches up. We talk about sharing our wealth with people. How about dying together? How about giving your life so that your fellow man, or for these folks that you're fighting with, so that they could have a life after that? So I'm so happy to see Chairman Johnson again. Absolutely, I know since I've been here, you have been a hero for so many of us for so long. I thank you. Mr. Conyers and Mr. Rangel has always been just a favorite of mine. I just think he's so articulate. But for us to be here today, my fellow Irishmen, to be able to be here and talk about the southern tip of the peninsula and talk about the Republic, I just can't tell you how privileged I am and how honored I am to be here with you. So thank you so much, and God bless you, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Conyers, and Mr. Rangel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. My name's Gerry Connolly, and I represent a community in the 11th District of Virginia that includes a lot of Korean Americans, and we're proud of them. I just got back from Korea a few weeks ago and had the opportunity to go up to the DMZ. I actually put my foot in the north and got out. And the North Koreans sent down a couple of people with soldiers with cameras to take pictures of us. We returned the favor and took pictures of them. But you realize how fragile that situation is. Seoul, I mean, the DMZ is really a suburb of Seoul. I mean, it would take roughly as long to get from Seoul to there as it does to take from here to Dulles Airport. And yet all of Seoul, as a result, is within artillery range of the north. All of it. A city with almost 25 million people. So the risks are very real for the Korean people. And the peninsula is one of the most dangerous flashpoints on the planet. And we need to be prudent and thoughtful in how we approach those issues, because the first victims of anything going wrong will be the people of Korea. And so we need to remember that as we remember what Mike Kelly just told us about the sacrifice that occurred in 1950 and subsequently. The other incredible thing about the Korean War is how far we've come. When the Korean War erupted, Korea had a per capita income that was on the same par as sub-Sahara Africa. It was the poorest of poor developing countries. Today, Korea is, a tiger. Korea is, I think, 12th to 13th in world economic productivity. It is an economic success story, a remarkable success story. And a lot of it came out of the energy and partnership with the United States, but also the ingenuity and creativity of the Korean people. Imagine what could happen if the North could ever liberate its own people to emulate what occurred in the South. And that's what we have to hope for and strive for. I see my friend the ambassador from Korea is here. Ambassador An, great to see you again. And thank you for your leadership. And as Mike said, finally, we got to remember the incredible and harrowing courage and just stamina of both Korean and American soldiers in that terrible war. It was called, a forgotten war. David Halverson called it in his brilliant book, The Coldest War, because a lot of veterans just remember the cold and up in the Chosin Reservoir and elsewhere. And they turned around a situation that seemed hopeless. And out of that grew the great miracle of South Korea, and hopefully someday the miracle of reunification, so that the Korean people can be one again. Thank you so much for having me here today. Congratulations. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mikey.